The 10th plenary meeting of the General Assembly is called to order. The Assembly will hear an address by Her Excellency Dalia Grybauskaitė, President of the Republic of Lithuania. I request protocol to escort Her Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations Her Excellency Dalia Grybauskaitė, President of the Republic of Lithuania, and to invite her to address the Assembly.
Good morning, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, this November, the world will remember 100 years since the end of the First World War. It caused the fall of empires and opened a window for small nations in Europe, including Lithuania, to achieve their dream to live independent and free, enjoying their cultures and traditions. To prevent such war from even happening again, multilateral institutions were created to safeguard political independence and territorial integrity. Yet, then the world faced its next big crisis. These institutions failed to act and remained powerless bystanders as humanity plunged into another world war. Today we wish to think that our multilateral institutions, including United Nations, are strong enough to take stand against aggression and disregard of international rule. But sometimes reality tells a different story. We see the world that is more fractured and institutions that are crumbling instead of sheltering us from the use of force and economic storms. In almost every major crisis of the last decade, from Syria to Ukraine, from Myanmar to Yemen, the United Nations Security Council was unable to play a meaningful role because of the inability of states to rise above their national interests and obstructive use of veto rights. Organizations created to abolish weapons of mass destruction are toothless against dictators who develop nuclear arms and use chemical weapons on civilians. As the tide begins to turn for the global economy, the World Trade Organization is starting to face paralysis. Rising global tensions in trade could wipe away our achievements in sustainable development and poverty reduction. At the same time, we must recognize that our institutions are not perfect. They can be bureaucratic, wasteful, and unaccountable. But it was us, the member states, who created them. So it is only up to us to improve and adapt them to new realities. Before we seek to destroy multilateral institutions, commitments, or agreements, we must clearly know what we want to build instead. Otherwise, we will end up living on a pile of ruins. We cannot reject globalization because fighting it will only make us poorer. In the last 25 years, free trade gave more than 1 billion people an opportunity to escape extreme poverty. However, globalization also has its dark sides, which must be confronted by acting against exclusion, inequality, and falling labor standards. But we cannot let the voices of nationalism and division win over dialogue and cooperation. On all major challenges, terrorism, climate change, and achieving women empowerment, there is simply no alternative to work together. So far, we have been too quiet, too passive, and too ignorant. We must stop taking an easy way out, only blaming institutions for our political or domestic failures. We must recognize that we, the member states, have the power and the resources to enable the United Nations to stand up for peace and freedom, equality and humanity. Because we are the United Nations. So let's take opportunity and responsibility for our future, empowering the United Nations to act. Thank you for attention.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I wish to thank the President of the Republic of Lithuania for the statement just made. May I request representatives to remain seated while we greet the Head of State.